Rhythm is not only affected by where we stress our words, but it's also affected by where we pause. When we're speaking, we pause around thought groups. Thought groups are groups of words that make up a meaningful unit of grammar. When you're reading English, it's easy to see where you pause because you pause at a comma, or at a dash, a colon or semicolon, parentheses, quotation marks, and of course at a period. But when we're speaking, we're not thinking about punctuation. So how do you know where to pause in your speech? Well, it's easy if you remember your grammatical units. We pause at noun phrases. For example, the well-respected manager is a noun phrase. We also pause at verb phrases. Spoke kindly is a verb phrase. We pause around prepositional phrases. About his staff. And we also pause at clauses. If you do your job well, or when you get to work in the morning. So let's practice putting pauses around thought groups. Listen to where I put pauses in the next sentence. If your team does its job well, your manager will speak kindly about your group. I had 5 pauses in that sentence. If your team does its job well, your manager will speak kindly about your group. You could read that sentence with only 3 pauses. If your team does its job well, your manager will speak kindly about your group. You can choose to have less pauses in a sentence, especially when the thought groups are short. But what you must not do is put a pause inside the thought group and break it up. So you can't say, if your team does its job well, your manager will speak kindly about your group. I put pauses in all the wrong places. I didn't keep the thought groups together. So again, let's practice the correct sentence. This time I'll pause 3 times. If your team does its job well, your manager will speak kindly about your group. Very good. Did you notice one thing? I stressed one word in each thought group. So stress and thought groups are related. If your team does its job well, your manager will speak kindly about your group.